Hi guys, Jess here from Tonkadale, and today we're having a plant side chat with my friend James from @UrbanJungleMSP. He is a big name in the Minneapolis houseplanting community.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. I'm pretty modest, so I wouldn't say that necessarily, but
we love his enthusiasm and especially his love for Hoyas.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Hoyas are really hot right now. They're super trendy on the houseplant scene, but they're also loved by many. James is here today to give us some tutelage on one of his favorite plants and a highly desired and sought after specimen here in the greenhouse. How about you give us a general overview about the Hoya species, why you love them so much, and then we'll talk about how to care for them.
I think what I like so much about Hoyas is that they're super easy care so long as you give them a few specific conditions. If you can give them a bright environment and you let them dry adequately and don't rot them, they're like super easy to care for. Just in terms of my love for them, I like that there are so many varieties that you can attain, and there are so many different foliage structures and ways that they grow. I don't know, there's just something that is so intriguing about them, and I have just kind of gotten a little obsessed in the last year. So when you are thinking about purchasing Hoya and you get it from the greenhouse, I would definitely recommend people leave it in the growing container for about 1 season. The mix that a lot of growers utilize is a little bit heavier than what Hoyas originate in. So definitely be careful not to overwater, because Hoyas have a pretty somewhat delicate root system, especially when they are freshly potted. So make sure that you're letting it dry out a little bit. You can see the mix that we have here is a little bit, it's got a lot of bark in it and it's got some fertilizer. This having bark in it is going to be beneficial for the Hoya because that's simulating the natural environment they grow in, with like growing on trees and on other plants. When it does come time for you to pot it up, you're gonna want to wait for it to be pretty pot bound before potting it up, and then when you do, go about 1 size bigger in terms of the pot. Regarding the mix that I use, I do mix my own Hoya mix, and this is one of the plants that I have at home. You can see that I have it in a pretty barky mix. I mix in orchid bark. I like to also use leca because it retains moisture without being like too wet. And then I mix in cactus soil. I use black gold, which is, it doesn't have peat in it, so it doesn't stay too moist.
For an easy quick mix, could you just do like half potting soil, half orchid mix?
I think that would be great.
Okay.
Yeah, for anybody, obviously I put a lot of effort into my Hoyas, but if there's somebody that's newer to the genus and is
quick and dirty mix,
I would definitely recommend that. Just make sure that whichever potting mix you're using has enough perlite in it, so that it's not bogging it down. But yeah, orchid bark is great. Light potting mix is a really good mix for Hoyas.
Perfect. Let's talk about light.
Okay, let's do it.
What do you think the perfect light situation is for a Hoya?
I think it definitely depends. A lot of the varieties we have here are going to be your more common Hoyas that are going to do well in a variety of lighting conditions. The Hoya carnosa compacta or Hoya compacta is really dark green, so it won't need as much light because it has so much more chlorophyll in it. So if you put this in like an east window, it would be great. These leaves are pretty succulent and fleshy, but they are susceptible to burning and scorching if you have them in too high of light. These varieties that have more variegation, the Hoya Crimson Princess and then the Hoya Crimson Queen over here, they can do pretty much the same lighting environment as this guy, but since they have that variegation, this is a little bit more sensitive. So you're going to want to keep that in a more diffuse light situation, but the east window for these guys would be perfect.
So let's talk about, you just mentioned that we have the Crimson Princess and the Crimson Queen. So that one, they're so beautiful because of the variegation and the pink color, which is a little bit harder to come by in plants. How do we tell the difference?
Well, there's a really easy moniker that you can use, or mnemonic device, or a little reminder. So Hoya Crimson Princess and Hoya Crimson Queen are part of the royal family.
The royal family.
So Hoya Crimson Queen over here wears a crown, right? So she's the queen, she's the mother of the matriarchy. She's got a crown because her margins are white on the outside, versus the princess who wears a gown. So her variegation is on the inside of the leaf.
And they always wear white because they're so pure.
Exactly. They are pure. They are the royals.
I love it. So far we've talked about soil. We've talked about light. Let's talk about fertilizer.
Okay.
Give us the fertilizing down low on these Hoyas.
Absolutely. So Hoyas are actually one of the plants that you don't need to go too heavy on the fertilizer.
Okay.
Since they are apophytes, they have developed strategy to utilize the nutrients that they have since they're growing off of other plants. So if you are going to fertilize, I would use about a half strength of whatever fertilizer you are using.
Okay.
Just because if you don't want to give it too much, which will also like stress the plant out, and you're only going to want to do it in the growing season.
So define growing season versus kind of dormant season for Hoyas. What are kind of your benchmarks for that?
So I would say like from March through about September is a really prime growing season. You're going to notice a lot of new growth on your Hoyas just because of the higher light environment. But as you get into the later fall months and into the winter, they really slow down.
So I see that you brought a few of your Hoya friends from home.
Yes.
Will you just show them off for a few minutes?
Yeah,
Okay.
Absolutely. So I brought a few different things down here. The first one that I want to talk about over here is actually Hoya Rebecca. As you can see, the foliage on here is really dark red, and this is a result of a higher light environment. They will produce different colors to just like indicate that.
So the reds and purple pigments in plants is usually a result of lycopene, which is only available when light shines on plants.
Oh, this produces such beautiful foliage that I keep this pretty close to my grow light just to maintain that red pigment. And as you can see, this guy is actually about to bloom.
I can't believe that.
So Hoyas actually produce these little things called peduncles or spurs.
That's the best word.
Yeah, a little peduncle.
So the Hoya that you were holding in your hand is so fragrant. I can smell it from here. Like it's a gorgeous scent. It's just making me happy. What is it?
This is Hoya lacunosa snowcaps. So this is a splashier variety of Hoya lacunosa. It's one of my easier growing Hoyas that I have. And as you can see, there are a ton of blooms on this guy. And there's even one that's just recently opened over here.
Oh my gosh.
So Hoyas, in order to attract pollinators, in the evening and the early morning, really give off their fragrance, which is why you're smelling that right now.
That's what I do too, to attract my mates.
Pheromones.
So if you're propagating Hoyas, is it more common to propagate them via seed or to propagate them via something like division or cuttings?
Absolutely. So the most common way that growers and producers will propagate is through stem cuttings or by just letting them kind of grow onto another media and then cutting them and then transplanting that. This is a Thai food takeout container.
Yes.
And it also doubles as a mini greenhouse.
Of course.
So I have some things in here that I'm working on propagating. These are stem cuttings that I've taken from some of the Hoyas that I have. And I have a very barky little mix in here.
Yep.
So in this mix, I have my leca and my orchid bark and just a little bit of the potting soil that I use. And this is an awesome way for you to propagate your Hoyas because it's simulating the natural environment. So these guys, this is Hoya numeraloides, and she's in rough shape. She's working on it. She's dieting and exercising. So basically what I do is I put my soil in here, and then I just lay the Hoyas on top of the soil, and then they send out their aerial roots or their adventitious roots.
Yeah, so let's back it up.
Yeah.
So the word adventitious is like those roots are taking advantage of the environment around them to like spread their wings and get bigger or make new babies. So they're taking advantage of, and you're creating that ideal environment for them to, you know, send out those roots and then eventually make new plants that you'll have to cut off and plant, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
I am so geeked out right now. It's going to set me up for a really great day. If people have further questions about Hoyas, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, I am on Instagram at Urban Jungle MSP. That's probably the easiest way for people to get a hold of me. Otherwise, I'm at Tonkadale pretty often. I'm on YouTube as well, so I have some resources out there, also at Urban Jungle MSP. So yeah, that's really the easiest way to get in contact with me. Instagram first, Tonkadale next, and then over YouTube.
That sounds amazing. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
This was so fun. Thanks for watching, you guys. We'll see you at Tonkadale.